Kathleen and Todd have lived together for almost 20 years and plan to celebrate their anniversary in a few months. They were well off enough. They had a house, a car, and two beautiful little girls who they loved madly. But at some point, a rift occurs. Kathleen makes a statement that she wants to file for divorce and erase 20 years of marriage from her memory. Todd is faced with unpleasant news, and he faces a choice: to give up everything and start a new life, or resort to a clever way to get to the truth. Enjoy watching. Enjoy.
Todd, I'm not happy. I want a divorce,
Kathleen declared. And although Todd seemed taken aback, he wasn't entirely blindsided. Almost 2 decades into their marriage, Kathleen had been engrossed in frequent discussions with her friend and self-proclaimed marriage expert Monica, who had navigated through 3 divorces.
Todd, can you hear me? I want to get a divorce,
Kathleen affirmed. Todd acknowledged her but emphasized the gravity of the matter. He shared his belief in being a loving and devoted husband and a good father, expressing confusion about the absence of any mentioned issues in their sex life. Despite his initial shock, Todd conveyed his willingness to support Kathleen in her decision. Kathleen explained that the desire for divorce had been brewing gradually, expressing her need for space and time to explore other opportunities and meet new people. She detailed the court's requirement for a legal separation within 90 days of signing the documents. Todd acknowledged that during this separation period, both could date others without it being considered cheating. However, they needed mutual agreement to halt the divorce, although either party could initiate the divorce without the other's consent. Todd realized that Kathleen didn't comprehend that he had the same freedom and suggested filing the documents together to be on the same page. Kathleen hesitated, prompting Todd to object to the idea of one party having more influence. Clarifying that he didn't want a divorce but wouldn't impede Kathleen's path, he emphasized her adequacy as a wife, mother, and lover. Despite Kathleen's assurance that her quest for more stemmed from her own inadequacies, Todd pondered the situation silently. He inquired about her progress with legal matters, and Kathleen revealed her plan to engage Junior Lewis, who had handled Monica's divorces. Todd, disapproving of this choice, disclosed his intention to involve his cousin Sally. Todd proposed a 2-week preparation period for the divorce, aiming to commence their separation on the 1st of the month. Kathleen questioned the need for actions before the separation, and Todd clarified that the purpose was to simulate post-divorce life during the separation. Kathleen's resolve wavered, prompting Todd to suggest planning everything in the kitchen over coffee. With these words, Todd exited the room. Todd left the bed and made his way to the kitchen, leaving Kathleen lost in thought. When Kathleen reached the kitchen, she found Todd already boiling coffee and jotting down notes.
Okay.
Todd began,
There's so much to consider. It's hard to decide where to start. I think we should talk about the kids first.
Kathleen, puzzled, asked.
What do you mean?
We'll have to let them know what's happening,
Todd explained.
and make sure we both say the same thing. We need to ensure they don't think our divorce is their fault.
This revelation worried Kathleen. Both girls were emotional, and she feared they might not take the news well.
Why do we need to tell them so much? Can't we just wait for the 90 days? Maybe we won't have to say anything at all.
But dear,
Todd replied,
how will you explain when they ask, why doesn't Dad live here anymore? Or, why don't you live here? We'll still be their mother and father. I thought you could continue living here during the separation and, we could go out occasionally without disrupting the children's lives.
Kathleen was skeptical.
I don't think that will work. We'd have to coordinate our dates, and it might cause problems if one of us wants to go out and the other finds it inconvenient. Plus, we won't experience what life would be like after the divorce if we behave the same way. And the children might hear from others that we've been seen with other people. We need to tell not only the girls, but also our relatives and friends, to avoid any misunderstandings or suspicions.
Todd continued outlining the challenges.
Even if we explain it to the kids, they might still think it's their fault. Unfortunately, it's hard to prevent children of divorce from feeling that way. We just have to emphasize our love for them and ensure we say the same thing. They may adjust eventually, but it might require professional therapy. And They might even enjoy having extra grandparents from your new boyfriend and my new girlfriend.
Kathleen, still processing the information, sat there in shock. Todd pressed on, discussing the need to coordinate holidays, family events, and finances.
We'll have less money to live on, adding the cost of renting my apartment to our current expenses. Joint assets will be divided 50-50, meaning we have to cancel joint accounts and file for child support. There's so much to do before the separation begins.
Kathleen remained silent, unsure of how to respond. Todd assured her,
I'll try to rent an apartment closer to work, so the girls have a bed when they stay over. Visitation standards usually include weekends and every other major holiday. I'll be as much a part of their lives as possible, but you and your boyfriend should be willing to share some responsibilities. Weeknight visits may be challenging, given school schedules.
He continued.
If I find someone else, she might have kids too, and I might have to assist them with homework and extracurricular activities. And there's also the challenge of managing clothes and toiletries in two places. School transportation poses an issue since their school may not be on a bus route. It's a disruption to our routine, and it won't be easy for any of us.
This isn't going as Monica assured, Kathleen thought. Monica promised that her husband would yield at the mention of divorce, continuing to fulfill family responsibilities while allowing her to date others on the side.
I'm losing control of the situation, Todd. I'm shocked. I need some sleep. Let's talk again tomorrow,
she expressed, hoping he would come and that she could use intimacy to sway him without the need for responsibility sharing or splitting finances.
Sorry, honey, but I need to jot down something else before bed. You know how my brain works. The more we do before the first day, the better we'll feel. Good night, darling.
Kathleen struggled to sleep, her mind set on talking to Monica about Todd's unexpected reaction. This newfound confidence allowed her to finally doze off. Upon waking, she realized Todd wasn't in bed with her. He had stayed up all night working on the divorce list. Finding him asleep in the guest bedroom, she proceeded to the kitchen, where she discovered a notepad on the table. Under the heading, Items to Change, the list included mortgage, homeowner's insurance, utilities, cable, cell phone, internet, car payment, car insurance, health insurance, dental insurance, Amazon Prime, LifeLock membership, LifeFlight, and more. Todd had also projected his new expenses during his stay in an apartment, along with a budget indicating the required child support to maintain their current lifestyle. They were short several $100s monthly, and Todd had listed ways to cut costs, including giving up favorite outings. Kathleen grimaced, realizing her gym membership, women's group, and dining out would also be impacted. Todd had compiled a list of tasks for her, from car maintenance to grocery shopping. Frustrated, she wondered why Todd didn't act as he should and give her what she wanted. Determined to seek advice, Kathleen called Monica, keeping her voice low as Todd slept nearby. Monica expected a positive response but learned that Todd had agreed to the divorce and started listing tasks he would no longer handle. Monica reassured Kathleen that Todd was bluffing, attempting to make her think she needed him more than he needed her. She emphasized controlling the kids and intimacy to keep him in line. Kathleen hesitated, questioning Robert's worth and expressing concern about Todd's actions. Monica urged her to stay strong until Todd's true intentions were clear. As Todd woke up, Kathleen nervously offered him coffee, and he shared that his late-night coffee had disrupted his sleep.
Why didn't you come to bed?
Todd inquired.
Well, I walked, but I didn't trust myself,
she replied. Confused, Todd asked,
What do you mean, honey?
Kathleen confessed.
I saw you sleeping naked and I got very excited. You're still the most attractive man I know. I'm afraid I would assume that if you loved me, it would be pity sex to ease my pain over the divorce proposal. I wasn't sure I wouldn't give up.
Honey, we're still married. I am yours and only yours, at least until separation occurs. Can't we act like husband and wife until then?
Todd pleaded.
I'm not afraid,
she said.
I am more confident than ever that separation activities must begin as soon as possible. Although the official breakup won't start until the first of the month, it actually started the second you said, I'm unhappy. It will be hard for me, but I really want to see you happy, even if I no longer play an important role in your life.
He continued.
Relax, give me some time to find myself, and I'm sure we'll stay married, and everything will be even better than before.
Todd suggested.
I wish I could believe it.
Kathleen confessed.
I decided to take the day off. Billy can supervise the maintenance crews during the day, so I can set some issues of division into motion. This doesn't take effect until the 1st of the month, so we'll have 90 full days where we can actually experience what it would be like if we got divorced. By the way, I'll get us both more cash than usual. You need to use cash until we can get our own credit and debit cards. Luckily, we both have separate checking accounts in addition to the large joint account. I will transfer half the amount from the joint account to each of our separate accounts. We must do this now so that we can receive new cards and checks by the 1st of the month. Tonight, I'll tell you what I did and what you need to do to gain control of your portion of the asset. Oh, you better hurry up so you don't be late for work. I will prepare the children's breakfast and take them to school.
Todd instructed. Kathleen, an excerpt from a memoir.
Upon returning home from work, I noticed evidence of Todd's presence during the day. Emotionally prepared for the financial discussions, I sat down at the kitchen table and reviewed my notebook. Todd added a few more items to the list, but my attention was drawn to a new list titled Possible Women for Today. Shockingly, my sister Janet's name was in the first column, women who have already expressed interest. Outraged, I called Janet immediately.
Hello, Kat.
She answered casually. How dare you try to steal my husband? I exclaimed.
Hey, slow down, girl. What are you talking about?
She asked innocently. Todd made a list of women who told him they wanted to date him, and your name is on it, Janet replied.
I don't know about the list, but I once told him, after I'd had too much to drink, that if he ever wises up and leaves your stupid, ungrateful ass, I want to replace you. Wait, sister. Did he catch you with someone, or did you catch him? What's your problem?
That's not the point. I just told him that I needed some space, some time for myself to explore new relationships, I explained. Janet interrupted.
Yeah, you're looking for it on the side. Who is he, or are there several of them?
No, I haven't been close to anyone yet. Todd and I will just go through the 90-day separation and then decide if we want to stay married or not. It's okay. Obviously, you have someone in mind, but I don't care, I responded.
So you're telling me that someday soon you two will be legally separated, and if anyone wants to have sex with Todd, there's nothing you can do about it. Let me know the date, and I can guarantee that 1 second past midnight, I'll be pleading for a date, expressing my willingness for him to use my body as he desires. I'll assure him that I am not my sister and commit to absolute fidelity until the end of our lives. If you don't stay away from him, what can you do? A legal separation is in the works, and remember, you're the one seeking it after all these years of boasting about what a great provider, husband, father, and lover he is. It's foolish to throw it all away. Have you suddenly become naive? Let me know when it's finalized. This is the only time I'll gladly accept help from an older sister. Bye.
Janet hung up the phone and Kathleen didn't know what to do. Back to the story. After the call, Kathleen attempted to calm down, but revisiting the list of women didn't help. Jenny, his secretary, a short single mother nearly 20 years younger than Todd, caught her attention as the first name on the list. Kathleen suspected Jenny's interest in dating Todd, assuming she might be desperate for financial support. Other names on the list included 2 women from Todd's workplace, recognizable neighbors, and women from the local area. Kathleen wondered if Todd's attractiveness extended beyond Janet. She never thought he'd consider dating during their separation, but now she questioned if he already had someone in mind. Todd entered the house and noticed his wife examining a notebook. He anticipated the topic of conversation. Kathleen couldn't hold back, accusing him of quickly seeking a replacement.
Well, Todd, it looks like you wasted no time finding a substitute for me. My dear sister, how could you?
Todd defended himself, claiming that he was just catching up with her and choosing a boyfriend. Kathleen denied having a boyfriend, saying she wanted to explore a new relationship. The mention of Robert Turner piqued Todd's curiosity, and he told about a meeting with Sylvia, his boss's secretary, who spread rumors about Kathleen and Robert meeting over lunch. After a significant pause, Kathleen couldn't resist asking what Sylvia said. She learned about the alleged close friendship between Kathleen and Robert, leading to speculations about their relationship. Kathleen explained that Robert was an old college friend, and they did things together. When asked about potential romantic involvement, Kathleen admitted to talking and hinted at the possibility of dating. Todd, skeptical, questioned the nature of their interactions, specifically if they did anything that Kathleen wouldn't want him to see. Kathleen hesitated but then recalled scenes in the elevator. Todd pressed further, asking if they did something that Robert's wife would disapprove of. Kathleen clarified that Robert wasn't married, prompting Todd to check Robert's Facebook page for confirmation. After finding information about Robert's marital status, Todd confronted Kathleen with the details. Kathleen suggested that the information about Robert being divorced might be outdated, pointing out that the website had been updated just 3 days ago. She questioned why he wouldn't mention such a crucial detail about his marital status and brought attention to his wife's recent message, expressing excitement about reuniting with Robert and their sons after the high school baseball season. Amidst the tension, Kathleen swore that Robert hadn't disclosed his marital status, emphasizing that she wouldn't do anything to jeopardize anyone's marriage. However, her husband pointed out that she seemed unfazed by the prospect of ruining her own marriage. Silence hung in the air, and Kathleen knew she needed time to think. While Robert was a significant reason she wanted to end things, she couldn't let Todd discover that. Downplaying Robert's importance, she mentioned he was just one of several men she might be interested in dating, and she could make a list just like Todd did. Realizing an important detail, Kathleen remembered that if they decided to remain married after the separation, they needed to exchange medical reports to ensure they were both free of sexually transmitted diseases. Todd tried to caution her, stating it wasn't just about her, but also about the potential partners and their histories. Despite Kathleen's frustration, Todd subtly enjoyed tightening the nuts. Changing the subject, Todd revealed his efforts to facilitate the separation process. He had tasks lined up starting with handling bank and credit card accounts for easy access to money. He assured Kathleen that matters like mortgage and utilities would be resolved in the coming weeks. On a positive note, he shared news about a 2-bedroom apartment at the Royal Arms, where his secretary Jenny worked as a night manager. He explained that becoming an apartment maintenance specialist could secure a 50% discount on rent, providing more financial support for Kathleen and the children. Todd acknowledged the 90-day time frame and suggested that if Kathleen played her cards right, she might consider returning. Kathleen hadn't signed the lease yet, and Todd reassured her that there was time. Steam seemed to pour out of Kathleen's ears as she bit her tongue, refraining from expressing her thoughts. Todd continued without waiting for her response, mentioning Jenny's interest in him and her proposal to go out. Despite the age difference, he politely declined due to workplace rules. Kathleen's frustration grew, but she kept her thoughts to herself as Todd moved on to share more news.
I have something that you will really like. I've booked 2 tickets for a 10-day vacation to Hawaii,
Todd said, showing off the surprise she had saved for their 20th anniversary. Kathleen's mood immediately brightened, and she expressed her long-standing desire to visit Hawaii. She was thrilled at the prospect of lying on the beach and swimming in the ocean. Todd's memories.
However, my response was not as enthusiastic as hers. We're not going to Hawaii, I stated. Recalling her request for a divorce, I explained that when I attempted to cancel the tickets, I could only get a 20% refund. Despite this setback, I thought the trip could still be a dream come true for her, even if not with me. I suggested changing the tickets for her and another person to be named later, emphasizing it could be a rewarding start to a new relationship. Kathleen, disappointed, proposed postponing the separation, canceling the trip, and rekindling our relationship. I, however, had thought deeply about it and expressed my doubts about returning to a possible divorce scenario, even if she called off the divorce. I believed her initial desire for divorce and my imagination of her with Robert would linger, making it difficult for me to be happy. Despite her plea, I confirmed my decision to proceed with the divorce. Kathleen was devastated and turned to her friend Monica for support. In the conversation, Kathleen shared the distressing situation with Monica, including my giving her the Hawaii tickets, but refusing to go with her. Monica, recognizing my manipulative tactic, assured Kathleen that with her appeal and charm, she could find a new partner and still maintain a family. Feeling betrayed, Kathleen vowed to make me pay for my actions. Monica, providing the insight into my scheme, encouraged Kathleen not to give up. When I returned downstairs with some luggage, Kathleen accused me of pretending to move out. I explained that I was only bringing a few things to the apartment gradually, per Jenny's suggestion. Noting the change in Kathleen's mood, I guessed she had consulted Monica. I cautioned her against relying on a divorce expert like Monica for marital advice. However, Kathleen defended Monica, claiming she had her back and mentioned the Hawaii ticket situation.
You've concocted this scam just to manipulate me into giving up everything. It won't work. I still want a divorce and can't wait to get one. There are plenty of guys who want me and will provide what I need.
You're absolutely right, at least about the guys who want you. I have no doubt you'll have many offers as soon as they find out you're free. I've always considered myself the luckiest person in the world to have such a beautiful woman like you, an amazing partner in raising children, and until recently, such a faithful wife and lover.
You're wrong about the trip to Hawaii, and I can prove it. All you have to do is call Lois Simpson at Flightright Travel Agency. She organized the trip. I'll call her now.
I picked up her phone and called. It's Todd Sinclair again, Louie. My wife is talking to me on speakerphone. You can tell her about the trip.
Todd, I'm so sorry you can't go. It sounds like you really wanted to surprise your wife and enjoy your vacation. What questions did you have, Mrs. Sinclair?
Tell me exactly what this so-called trip includes.
Kathleen growled.
This is our 10-day trip to 2 islands. Our most popular hotel, food, transportation, hula classes, luau, tiki dancers, surfing, swimming, dancing, all in a romantic setting. He first called about 3 months ago, chose this particular trip 2 months ago, and paid for it 2 weeks later. Yesterday, he called to cancel the order, and I refunded 20%. He said to go ahead, and you'll find someone else to go with you. That tells me what kind of husband he is. You're just lucky. What other questions do you have? You need to tell me the other person's name as soon as possible. In fact, I can't book plane tickets until I know this person's name.
No other questions. I'll call you soon and tell you the name,
Kathleen said. After a few seconds, she realized.
You think you've deceived me again, don't you? You agreed with Lewis to pretend that you were planning a trip to Hawaii before I brought up the divorce. Well, I'm smarter.
Continuation of the story. Todd sighed loudly and suggested. Continuation of the story. Todd sighed loudly and suggested.
Talk to your parents.
What do my parents have to do with it? Who will keep the girls while we're gone?
Let me call them.
Kathleen was taken by surprise.
No, you don't have to do that. I need a little time to think.
Sorry, Kat, I'm already calling,
Todd replied. The call was answered by her mother.
Kathleen, how are the girls? Glad to hear from you.
Hi, Mom.
Kathleen said hesitantly.
Hi, Mom. This is Todd. We're talking on speakerphone. Wait a minute. I'll call your father, too.
Harold, this is Todd and Kathleen. Answer the phone, honey.
Hey, guys, what's the matter?
Said Harold, joining the conversation after Kathleen didn't say anything. Todd spoke up.
Kathleen knows now, so you don't have to keep it a secret.
Son, we're very sorry that you cannot go. You didn't tell us why when you called this morning. I hope it's not a disease. When you called and said we wouldn't babysit the girls while you were in Hawaii since you weren't coming, it was disappointing, because we were looking forward to.
We had the girls with us for 10 days, and we felt sorry for Kathleen because you couldn't join her. We know how much she would have loved this trip with you. Have you decided who to take yet, Kathleen?
Not yet, Mom. It'll be tough for whoever stays. How long has it been since Todd talked to you about going to Hawaii?
I'm not exactly sure, Harold. Do you remember? I think it was around New Year's, wasn't it? About 2 or 3 months ago, he mentioned wanting to give us a heads up so we could stock up on snacks. These two can eat anything and never gain a pound.
Kathleen's mother intervened, sensing something might be wrong.
Why are you asking about when Todd spoke to us? Is there something between you two? Oh, God, did you break up?
No, Mom, not really. We kind of decided that we needed some space, some time away from each other to recharge the marriage battery, and then maybe get back together.
I won't lie to my parents. They have always been honest and open with me. I told Todd last Sunday night that I wanted a divorce.
Gasps and sobs echoed from the other end of the line. Kathleen tried to clarify.
That's not exactly what I wanted to say. The first step of the divorce process is a 90-day separation. I wanted this time to find myself, explore new opportunities, improve myself to become a better wife and mother.
And this is my daughter speaking.
I know liberal lies when I hear them, Kathleen. Do you have a boyfriend on the side? No, Dad, not at all, sir. I can't believe you could do something like that. We raised you better. I'm so disappointed. Don't expect us to be polite to your new man. Todd, we're so sorry. At least promise us you'll let us see our grandchildren after the divorce.
Before Todd could respond, Kathleen, sobbing, interrupted.
Todd has blown this whole thing out of proportion. I take my words back. No divorce, no separation. I'll talk to you later when everything calms down.
You need to pull yourself together. The girls will be home soon.
Where are you going? I don't want a divorce. You don't have to go anywhere.
You unilaterally declared you wanted a divorce without talking to me first. Now you think you can unilaterally declare that we won't get divorced because things aren't going the way you planned. You don't seem to understand that I have a voice. After what I've learned about you over the past week, I'm not sure giving up on divorce is a good idea. I'll take a sleeping bag from the garage and stay in the apartment for the night.
Todd, please don't go. I'm sorry. You said it was okay before I mentioned wanting a divorce. Can't you just forget about it and go back to the way things were? You said you were happy.
I was happy. Very happy. But I can't forget how you said you were unhappy, and how you planned an affair with Robert. As I said, you have already committed adultery. Sally told me that drafting the divorce papers would be easy, as these were standard terms. She could probably get them tomorrow.
I won't sign them.
It doesn't matter. She just has to make sure you're officially served. I think she might do it at your job, so there will be a lot of witnesses. Maybe even Robert deserves a claim for alienated affection.
Consider serving your boss for violating company policy, though it might mean both of us losing our jobs. But that seems extreme.
What I really need is for you to be there for the girls after the divorce. I'll just talk to Robert's wife. That should be enough payback for him.
Why are you being so harsh? I love you, and you love me. Can't we find a way to make things right? You said divorce would be painful for both of us. Don't you want to avoid that pain? I promise never to bring up this divorce mess again. Please stay, and let's work through it.
Tears rolled down Kathleen's face as Todd stood still and silent. She hoped she had made an impression.
I'll tell you what. I'll take my suitcase and sleeping bag to the apartment. Write down a few things. Your words and actions hurt me more than you know. If your answers are what I'm looking for, I might consider calling off or at least postponing the divorce. I'll be back at 7. You might want to send the kids to their parents or friends so we can talk freely.
Thank you. What should I write first?
I want you to beg, not just beg, but beg me to forgive you. Second, tell Robert not to contact you again. If he persists, tell him I can file a lawsuit against him and your company if he doesn't comply. Third, list all the reasons why I should consider staying married to you. Finally, call Monica and tell her you never want to talk to her again. I can't stand the thought of hearing her name. Do you understand what I'm asking of you if you want a chance for us to stay married?
Yes, dear, I think so. I'll do everything and be ready by 7.
Fine, see you at 7.
Todd said as he took his suitcase and left. Kathleen stared at the end of the list, rehearsing what she would say to Monica.
Listening to you was the worst decision I ever made. Because of you, I almost lost everything dear to me. Never contact me again. No calls, texts, emails, or even thoughts. If you see me in a store or restaurant, leave, or I may not be held accountable for my actions.
Kathleen was surprised at how good she felt after finally standing up to Monica. She then reached out to Robert, passing along the message as instructed by Todd. The experience of listening to Robert plead for a final meeting at the motel, resorting to name-calling and questioning her prowess as a lover, was unpleasant. To silence him, she warned that her husband could contact his wife if he continued causing trouble. The expectedly challenging task, compiling a list of reasons for Todd to want to stay married, turned out to be surprisingly straightforward. Liberated from the desire for more than what she had with Todd, she reflected on the joys in their life together, creating an impressive list. Feeling confident, she believed this list would impress Todd, allowing her to ask for forgiveness for her previous foolish, selfish, and arrogant actions. By 7 p.m., Kathleen was ready and confident. However, her worry grew when Todd returned without luggage, his expression unchanged since leaving that afternoon. Attempting to be kind and modest, she presented her answers, hoping for his reconsideration. As Todd read the list, tears welled up in his eyes, prompting Kathleen to cry as well, interpreting his emotional response as a positive sign. "This is very impressive, Kat," he acknowledged, but he gestured for her to return to her seat, expressing uncertainty about whether she truly grasped the extent of the pain she had caused. Devastated, Kathleen fell to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably, feeling like she had ruined her family's life and deeming herself the worst person on earth. Todd knelt down, whispering about her newfound realization. As Kathleen sobbed on the floor, Todd walked to the door, turned back, and asked if, during the separation, they could meet others. Struggling to compose herself, Kathleen managed to agree, overwhelmed with emotion. Seizing the opportunity, Todd surprised her with a date proposal for Friday night, a dinner, and a movie. Astonished, she asked if he was asking her on a date. He acknowledged the damage to their old relationship but expressed hope for a new chance. Overjoyed, Kathleen stood up and rushed towards Todd, enthusiastically accepting the invitation, believing in the possibility of a fresh start for them.